last 2 meetings are remaining in Season 3 of the Apex Racing Academy Virtual Racing School Formula 3 Super Series. Next week we head to Long Beach, but for now we are in New York. We are at Watkins Glen International Circuit. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Jack Canan. Marco Parbonier operating the cameras, and it's high stakes stuff tonight. Jack, we've currently got the Euros going on, so I'll use a football analogy. It doesn't matter about the performance at this point in the season, it just matters about the results. And with so many drivers going for the professional and the amateur championships, I think that'll be at the forefront of many of these competitors' minds.
Yeah, and how about that championship with 2 rounds to go? Paulo Dreita still leads it, but just by 1 single point over Thiago Marteau, who did the double last week. As now you see Will Redford 334 in P3, but Will, as far as I can see, is not participating this week, which means Connor Bell has a chance to get himself back in it. But just a single point separating the championship at the head of the pro field. That of course includes the Pro-Am drivers as well. We have the separate table for those guys as well, and that has been chopping and changing as well, because Aaron Smith did not have a good round last time out, and as I'm looking at this, on 249 points, it should be Florian Beer who leads that championship now by a solitary couple of points. Yeah, there it is. So both championships are incredible, and you can see Jensen Adrington with his 2 wins last week is now back in it, as is Richard Boberg. So the AM Championship and the Pro Championship, super tight. Just a point in it in the Pro, and just a couple of more points, just 4 points in it at the top of the AM class standings as well. So super tight. All our contenders, as far as we can see, are here. Of course, on top of the Euros as well, the Watkins Glen 6 hours special event is also running as well. So there may be a few drivers that are taking part in that as well. But I mean, Marteau did the job last week. He got himself back in the title fight with just a point in it now, with 2 rounds to go. Watkins Glen and Long Beach, as you mentioned. Paulo Dreita had a terrible race 1, recovered really nicely to P2 in race 2, but Marteau didn't get his start wrong whatsoever. He nailed them at every lap of the races last week, and took home the double win. But I mean, if practice is anything to go by, Sam, then Connor Bell is probably going to be the strongest one, because he was a full half a second quicker than anybody out there.
Yeah, we've seen Connor take a couple of pole positions so far this season, and he is on provisional pole for this one as well, but it is tight. Florian Beer up there in 3rd place, Dreita with 1 less lap completed, I believe so far. Yeah, Dreita just crossing the line now, and does he improve? It's 4th. Oh, that's a bit short for Dreita. Actually needs to be going a bit faster than that if he possibly can. Now Steve Brown, we were just watching before, and a spin as well for Mark Redford. But I think you mentioned it just a moment ago, Jack. This season has absolutely, ebbed and flowed. Certainly the last round of the championship there was another ebb, but there's certainly going to be another difference come this round. Really, no driver has been able to have a good run of results so far. Marteau, in fact, had been on a poor run of form really for 3 meetings straight until that double race win. And so with still 4 races to go across these 2 final meetings, still we could see many more upsets to come. Rosenkrantz, a little bit of an upset there, up there in 3rd position at the moment, but as we've seen every qualifying so far this season, Jack, the times just gets it quicker and quicker as the session goes on.
Yeah, and they've got 4 laps to do it in as well. So you'd see just Marteau using all the road on the exit of the hairpin. A really tricky corner, that one as well. If you hit the curb on the inside, you are going in the wall on the outside. Simple as that. Try to take this one flat into the last corner. Camber will work with you in this one. You can go right out to the wall on the right-hand side. Doesn't opt to do so. Here comes Marteau then. Let's see if he's able to improve his time as he goes on to his final flying lap. He certainly does improve and goes in front of Connor Bell, who goes a full 0.2 of a second quicker on that lap. So Connor Bell is looking really quick tonight. Here comes Paulo Dreita, the championship leader, by just a solitary point. Needs to keep himself in it this week. Across the start-finish line, where does he go? Vesterhoff goes to 3rd, Dreita goes to 2nd. That's much better from the Brazilian, and they're all on their final flying laps right now. But surely Connor Bell, really strong effort out there. As Aaron Smith, he lost the championship lead in the AM class last week after his poor run results. Needs to get himself back up there. He's 0.6 of a second off of pole position and 0.6 off of his rival, Florian Beer. 4 points adrift of him in the championship at the moment and is unable to improve his position. Has to back off right now. But thankfully for him, there's less cars in the field, so he'll be able to keep himself up there now.
Yeah, I guess it'll be trickier to get cars between yourself and your rival, so everyone who's at the top of the championship might have an advantage, but at the same time, of course, the gaps are so small, just beating your rival by 1 place, well, that could turn the championship. So, yeah, Smith not with a great qualifying, but 3rd place on the grid, still only 1 place behind Beer. But of course, he absolutely has to outscore if he can. Across the line comes Joseph Givens in one of his first meetings of the season. I think he may have made his debut at Road Atlanta. Certainly I haven't seen him at some circuit this season. Currently not an eligible lap being put in, but we are about to see who is going to take pole position. Pole position so far this season has really been an advantage in the pro category. The first man to cross the line is going to be Marteau. Can he take back provisional pole? No, he can't. He's just short, but second on the grid wouldn't be bad. Bell crosses the line and I think improves by about 1,000th of a second there. Really didn't extend that gap too much. But what can Paulo Drates do? He's lifting off slightly the apex of the final corner. It still looks like a strong run to the line. Is it good enough for at least the front row? Yes, and it's one of the closest qualifyings of the season. 3/100 separating the top 3, the 3 championship rivals, and Marteau so close to pole position, but Bell with that crucial pole position. That's really what he needed. If he can, the 2 race wins will possibly bring back into contention going into the last round.
Yeah, Richard Boberg just about to come across the line now. He's going to be the last of 2 to finish their laps. Here he comes and is going to go position. No, he's not actually. Just improved slightly. It doesn't improve his position. Florian Beer, by the way, he's P4 overall, so really strong effort for Florian Beer. He's also the championship leader in the AM category as well, so he's done well to get himself up there. But Connor Bell, I think he's lucky there because he actually invalidated his last run across the line. The little flash of red on the SDK overlay letting us know that he actually took an off track and was lucky that Drayton and Marteau didn't find that extra bit of time. But 3/1000ths of a second between Drayton and Marteau, the 2 guys at the top of the championship. Bell is a good ways back. He's about 30 points adrift, so he's key, but he's still in with a chance. If he gets a good run of 2 races, this is going to be probably one of the tightest championships we've had in this series so far.
Yeah, it's usually fairly close in the F3 Championship, but nothing on this level. It's been an absolute pleasure through this season to watch kind of 3 or 4 guys really go at it. You know, it's nice to have some randomness. It's nice to have, you know, some dominant forces. I think those 3 or 4 drivers really establishing their position in the championship has been a fantastic watch for all of us. And it's those 3, at least. No Redford tonight, but it's the other 3 on the front 3 grid spots. Bell ahead of Drayton, ahead of Marteau. Beer with a strong qualifying, top of the amateurs, of course, top of the championship in the amateurs as well. Then it's Stephen Westerhoff, Chris Rosenkrantz, Aaron Smith, Richard Boberg, Brian Crone, Joseph Givens, Shane Dunn, Steve Brown, and then Jack Reeve, and then Mark Redford and Alexander Roggenbuck did not set qualifying times, I believe. The final few drivers are just lining up on the grid. I believe the top 2 still haven't got onto the grid. But whilst we've seen some races this season, I mean, Okayama comes to mind in particular a few weeks back, Jack, where it was very tricky to overtake. I think this place should be one of the easiest to overtake because you got that long run from turn 1 to the bus stop.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to overtake here, and the draft, of course, in these cars is super, super strong. So expect plenty of action. Marteau, I saw him in practice as well. He was in the pit lane practicing his starts constantly. He's making sure that he doesn't make the same errors that he did back in Monza, I believe, where he lost the 4 positions off the line. He has not made a single error since that, and he's made sure his starts have been top-notch. Now, Connor Bell grids up. That means everyone is ready to go for the first race of the night. Round 9 of Watkins Glen. The ARA F3 VRS Super Series is about to go underway. And we are away. Good start from Connor Bell and a good start from Marteau as well. Drayton trying to cover him off. It was a great start from Aaron Smith on the inside as he tries to get up alongside the turn one. Marteau looks on the inside of Drayton. Can't quite get up alongside. They give each other plenty of room through turn number one. Bell leads. Drayton slots into second. Marteau into third. Bear into fourth. Vestrov fifth. They've exactly held position across the order. I don't think anyone's gained any spots yet as they come up the hill for the first time. And we're going to see now a couple of cars trying to make some moves. Here we go now. Connor Bell with Drayton on his outside. Where does Marteau? Look at this from Florian Beer trying to make it 3 wide down towards the bus stop chicane. It's all fanning out as they head into there and they hold position. Connor Bell loses out to Drayton, who takes the lead as they come through the bus stop. Really clean from everybody. 15 drivers, but Paolo Drayton pounced and through he went, and the top 3 are away and clean. Exactly what we want to see.
That was a little bit like a spa start. Honestly, that run to the chicane, a bit like the Kemmel Straight. Absolute sitting duck, it looked like, was Bell, and he had no way to hold back Drayton, albeit it was still a very gutsy move from the Brazilian. Just behind, Smith battling real hard with Rosenkrantz. He cannot afford an incident, Ken Smith, after his poor meeting last time out, and he's not really in the draft at the moment. He's going to have to stay behind Rosenkrantz unless he goes for an ambitious move into the heel. He does stay behind. So still Beer leading in the amateur category, although very close to Westerhoff ahead. But I think we might see a few changes between these top 3. They are so evenly matched that the draft could well make this into a little bit of a draft fest, honestly.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that at the moment. Actually, Marteau has dropped off a little bit from the rear of Connor Bell. He shouldn't affect him too much. He'll still have the draft, but little moves in the background here. Florian Beer with Rosenkrantz on his inside. This will be a swap for the lead in the AM class. Rosenkrantz trying to go up the inside into turn number 1, side by side between the two of them. That's exactly what Aaron Smith wants to see. He'll get himself involved right now, because this is the battle for the AM class championship in a way as well. Rosenkrantz slots to the lead, and now he's right on the tail of his rival. That's Florian Beer in front of him. Now this is going to get really interesting between our AM class guys. Florian Beer trying to find some space. Here comes Aaron Smith, finds the space. Will he get the both of them? Maybe. Gets the door shut on him there. Maybe some bump drafting going on here down towards the bus stop chicane. 3 wide will go in the AM class, and Aaron Smith tries to get past. He can't quite do it. He slots in behind Rosenkrantz, but he is ahead, crucially, of Florian Beer. And Beer runs off a little bit, loses a place to Brian Kroon, and Richard Boberg is right behind him now, and it almost ends in contact, but thankfully not. Boberg has to go to the outside line now, and Beer hangs on, but that's 2 places lost and an extra car between Aaron Smith and Florian Beer. Exactly what he wants to see. No changes up in the front. I think they're settling into a rhythm here and just trying to make sure they don't hit each other off and get involved in silly incidents, but the AM class heat up pretty quickly, but Rosenkrantz leads, Aaron Smith with a good opportunistic overtake there.
Yeah, well, it was brave from Smith. I'm not sure if the other drivers will be so pleased with that one, because Beer backed out, pointed the smart thing, and lost out quite a bit from it, because then he was offline for the next chicane. So yeah, bad news for Beer there, but it doesn't need to win this race 1 at least. It wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world. And of course for race 2, your finishing order from race 1 will decide your starting order for race 2, so there's kind of a double incentive. Marteau still dropping back. I mean, he highlighted it at the end of the first lap how he dropped off. He hasn't been able to really make any of that gap back. You can just see on that last lap losing a little bit of time to Bell, albeit was slightly faster than Drayton. So those top 3, just as in qualifying, lapping all within a 1/10 of a second of one another. We're now watching Beer coming back against Brian Kroon. Of course, pro driver is Brian Kroon, race winner in the Apex Racing League GT Championship back when it was sponsored by Colbeck, so he's a quality driver. But Beer has a championship on the line here, cannot get past outside in these Formula 3 cars at the bus stop. Is way too risky for a championship contender.
It certainly is. This is exactly where kind of Drayton wants to be. He's got a car between himself and Marteau. Marteau is obviously in P3. It's obviously not the end of the world for Marteau, but Drayton would like to take a bigger lead in the championship into the next round. Connor Bell just needs to make sure he gets 2 good races in tonight, and he'll certainly be in with a distant shout of it next week at Long Beach. So we'll wait to see what happens here, but Marteau, I think, maybe just biding his time there in P3. I think he knows that he just needs to keep himself clean and in this race. Of course, no points for DNFing, so he needs to make sure he gets some good results in. But Drayton has done the job so far. He's led now, and Connor Bell not attacking him really. I think they're trying to work together and possibly a little bit here, just to maybe try and get away from Marteau and leave him without any help behind. He's obviously got no help from behind, but he's trying to get in the draft here. Look at that from Drayta, right to the pit wall, trying to break the toe. But Marzo, he's actually set the fastest lap of the race this time, but they're all within the same 1/10 of a second. That just shows you the level we're talking about here. Top 3 in the championship within that 1/10 of a second. It was the same in qualifying, it's the same in the race, so they're really carrying it over.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I think they'd all say that they've improved as the season's gone on. I think they've probably pushed one another to improve. They do race another series. Of course, Marteau races in the IGP Fun Championship, which is on tomorrow night, actually, on Apex Racing TV. But I think this one has really pushed them to their limits because of the rivalry they've been able to create between the lots of them. Marteau is a bit closer now. I mean, that might just be the draft flattering him right there. But certainly the gap between the top 3 now kind of even across the board. So Marteau, there was any threat of him dropping back, no threat of that anymore. His countryman, Brian Crone, has finally lost out to Florian Beer, it seems like, and I think Boberg might be going with him right now. Beer back to 7th place, within 1 place of Aaron Smith, crucially. And now Crane is under pressure from... Oh, as Bell has been able to take the lead from Drayta. That's an unusual place to get it done. We're going to see a comeback, though, into the 3rd to final corner. Wide, Bell is able to get the cutback underneath, and Marteau might be able to get past straight away. But almost flat out in these Formula 3 cars is the penultimate corner, and Bell is able to establish that lead. But, just like lap 1, he threatens to be very under pressure into the bus stop again.
Yeah, unorthodox from Conor Bell right there, and Drayta tried to come back at him, but Bell pulled off the switchback very, very nicely there, and now he's going to try get away, but Marteau's been dragged into it now, just with that small side-by-side, and Bell with a great exit out of turn number 1 there, but you'll see the draft just drag Paolo Drayta right back into this as they head up towards the bus stop chicane again. This is exactly what we want to see, the championship contenders at it. Here comes Drayta again, outside line for the bus stop chicane. He has the overspeed, he has the extra speed, and there's absolutely nothing that Conor Bell could do about that. So he is straight through as Vestrov and Rosenkrantz are fighting out for P4. So Vestrov's struggling. Rosenkrantz on a good pace here, but he's also getting caught by Aaron Smith. Oh, big off! That's Shane Dunn off into the gravel. Hopefully he doesn't hit the wall. He does not hit the wall and manages to keep the engine running, get back going again. But just shot off to the right-hand side as Smith has taken the lead in the AM class. Aaron Smith now leads that class, and there's been a swap right there, and it's now these two. So Aaron Smith back to the lead of the AM class. That's exactly what he needs for his championship as well. He's 4 points behind, and he's now going to be... Oh, that is a lot of damage on that car there. Jack Reeve, by the looks of it. I think that's the first big accident we've had tonight. We've lasted quite a long time without having cars with bits flying off them, and unfortunately Jack Reeve back in pit lane, as is Givens as well. But Drayta still in the lead, Bell's still absolutely all over him, but Aaron Smith back into the lead where he needs to be. So both championship leaders are leading their own classes, but they're getting hounded from behind at the same time. Yeah,
and it seemed like Rosenkrantz kind of went for that move on Westhop and just went offline through the bus stop. And it is really tricky to follow through the bus stop, not just with the turn air, but just seeing where the corner is. You're quite blindsided. It's difficult to kind of turn in at the same marker points if your view is impaired. And he dropped back into Smith. Marteau looks like he could have a chance here against Bell. Maybe not. I think Bell might be running more wing, because he seemed to be on the first lap and a couple of laps ago. He seemed to be, I mean, like I've used the term before, but a sitting duck, because he was 0.3 of a second ahead coming through the first corner, and yet was still overtaken by the bus stop. So, and of course he did make his move through the boot section, which of course he wouldn't expect. So it seems as though maybe we have a bit of a setup rivalry here, as well as Rosenkrantz has actually got back past Smith. So. Rosenkrantz, after that mistake on the previous lap, he has been able to amend that, and he's back to the lead of the amateur category.
Yeah, not what Aaron Smith needs to see is Florian Beer kind of closing in. There he is, just coming over the top of the hill, and that's the AM class championship leader, of course, and he's not too far behind. those two, if they continue to fight. He's only about 2 seconds, not even 2 seconds, 1.3, 1.4 behind. So Florian Beer is certainly still in with a shout in this as we go now back to the leaders again. And Connor Bell, I think you're right, Sam, with that wing, because he closed the bill a huge amount in that last few corners. But it seems like the draft is helping me out a lot as they come across the line. Fast lap for Connor Bell that time. Actually, it should be 38.0 for Connor Bell by a tenth of a second. Drayton goes really wide through turn 1, but Drayton's going to have the benefit of a tow off one of the lap car in front. I think that's Steve Brown who's in the car in front. So up the hill they come. Marteau's been kind of dropped in this little battle here as Drayton now he's going to have to try to defend. What does Connor Bell do here? Moves out of the slipstream. Steve Brown's in the way. 3 wide it'll go down towards the bus stop, and the blue flag on the inside, and somehow they make it through without too much hassle, but Connor Bell unable to make the move on the outside, and Rosenkrantz has to try to defend from Aaron Smith as well as they come into the bus stop. This is fantastic racing throughout as Mark Redford makes a place on Brian Crutt. I don't know what's going on with Brian, but he's really struggling today in that pro class car. I wonder, is he carrying some damage of something, as Connor Bell up the inside into the right hand hairpin at the toe, of course, and through he goes. And he really likes that middle sector, the boot section. He's making his moves through there, immediately defends the inside because Drayton seems to be running less wing. But Bell back to the lead we go again. But this is brilliant. This is all our championship contenders in a fight, scrapping it out, single digits separating them in the championship. And these could be crucial moves heading into Long Beach next week.
Yeah. Any places you can get, absolutely vital. Does certainly seem as though Bell's got the more downforce on that car. So it's just a question of for Drayton just to stay close around the end part of the lap, then get a bit closer down the pit straight, and then get the run into the chicane. I think it might even be close this time. The gap is 0.4 of a second. It's going to be close between these two drivers as well. Smith has to sit behind Rosenkrantz as we do cut to the leaders. 0.4. A little bit of a draft here for Bell. That could well be crucial for him to keep that lead, because he can see the time that Drayton is getting. In fact, he's going to probably have an attempt at a move by the end of this straight. Such is his pace advantage. He storms around the outside. He's got probably 10 mile an hour over him by the end of the straight, and he's able to retake that place. And Smith swoops around the outside at the bus stop and takes 5th place and the leader of the amateur category. A couple of spectacular moves there, but that is, well, that's bad news for Connor Bell there, Jack, because I honestly think for race 2 he's got to tune out some of that downforce, because he can't defend.
Yeah, he's left leaving the door open a little bit here. He's trying to go around the outside of the exit of the toe. This is fantastic racing tonight in this series with our championship contenders. Drayton defends the inside. Connor Bell doesn't have the straight line speed to try and get around the outside. Now Drayton goes a little bit wide. Connor Bell says thank you very much. Back to the lead I go as they come up the hill once again. Drayton will have the inside this time, round the outside for Connor Bell. He finds the rhythm. He finds her. Marteau tries to pounce now on the outside. Drayton leaves him room. Through the fast left they go. Marteau goes round the outside of the fast left. Inside for the last corner. Marteau goes through. So Drayton loses 2 spots, and Connor Bell is all of a sudden 0.6 of a second clear. And now Drayton's got to do all that hard work all over again to get back up to Connor Bell. But now 13 minutes gone, 7 minutes remaining in this race, and Connor Bell is trying to now build as big a gap as he can, but Marteau has put a spanner in the works now for Paolo Drayton. He's got to get past him and get back up to Connor Bell once again. This might be good news for Connor Bell in the long run, but Drayton surely needs to get past Marteau on this straight as we come down. He's already pulling alongside, and that low wing, and I think Connor Bell's giving him the slipstream as well, and Drayton's already through. That is an insane amount of straight line speed for the Brazilian, but now that is also kind of bad news for Connor Bell. He now has to deal with Drayton, who's going to close up to him really fast now.
Yeah, so it seems like Drayton is the odd one out, because Marteau really didn't have any straight line speed there either. So it seems like it's just Drayton who's made that car very raceable, but of course he's very quick through the corners as well. But yeah, that gap's going to be probably over a second by the time they get round to the start finish line, because this is the part of the track where Bell is stronger. Smith was able to hold back Rosenkrantz. I'm surprised Beer isn't able to make more of an impression on these drivers. Boberg as well, honestly, and these two drivers' pace is still very good. Even Westerhoff isn't pulling away, and they're only 5 seconds off the lead. So really strong pace for these two. And this fighting probably isn't helping too much. There is the time difference, so actually on that last lap, Beer was able to take a chunk out, but it's not consistent by any means. And on this lap, there hasn't been much of a difference, I believe, either. By the way, out in the lead, it is just 1 second, so that was actually a pretty good second half of the lap for Drayton. He was able to only lose a couple of tenths of a second, as here comes Rosenkrantz against Smith. Will he go around the outside? No, he's just going to line it up here. That's what you need to do. Then get the perfect distance back. You want to be about 2 tenths of a second back so you don't catch up the hill. Oh, he's going to have to lift out of this one. Although these F3 cars are so quick, they're a little bit narrow. And he was able to, did have to lift out in the end, partially due to Smith moving slightly. But Rosenkrantz now dipping back into the draft. Now Smith has been very bold in these situations so far tonight. That time he realises that he should just stay behind. So Smith does drop down to 6th, but there's plenty more laps for him to re-overtake.
Yeah, and he's already trying to line them up as they head towards the boot section now. He's on the outside as they enter the boot section. Now trying to maybe get a little switch back on here with a wide entry and trying to get the exit that he needs to get up alongside. You can see Rosenkrantz defending the inside into the toe and down towards the heel they come now, up the hill. Smith will get a nice run on the exit, but does he have enough? Let's see. He might have a think about it into the heel. Actually, he's looking to the inside. There's no space. The door is firmly shut by Chris Rosenkrantz now. Outside for Aaron Smith. He's going to have to run wide, try to get a switch back underneath, but can't quite make it work. But this is costing them time, and Florian Beer is right there. He's not far at all off these guys. He's closed up to under 2 seconds now. There he is, just in the background, a shot right there. It's exactly what he needs to see, and it's almost Aaron Smith pushing Rosenkrantz through the fast left. Looks to the outside of the last corner. It's getting really feisty now in Aram class as they come across the start-finish line. But Drayton up front, by the way, is not making an impression on Connor Bell. Bell is in free air. He's broken the draft. I think that's the key point here for Connor Bell. He's gotten away out of the slipstream of Drayton. That one lap where he got in front, he pushed and made sure he wasn't in the slipstream, because Drayton with that low wing is completely unbeatable in a straight line. You can see it right there, and Drayton's actually the man in trouble now because he's getting caught by Marteau, but Marteau is not quite finding the move just yet. Here we go again for this move. Oh, a double move! It's going to be contact, and Rosenkrantz is in the wall on the long back straight, and contact between himself and Aaron Smith. Florian Beer goes in front. Richard Boberg goes through. We're going to have a look at that again as they come up the straight. Let's see. Rosenkrantz on the top of the shot, of course, is now. You can see Aaron Smith closes in. What happens here? There's a move. Rosenkrantz just doesn't know where he's going. Aaron Smith just can't work out where he's going, runs into the back man. I can't put fault on Aaron Smith there. I don't think so.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a block, didn't it? Bit of a late move, reacting to what Smith was doing. Or maybe he was just, to give benefit to the doubt to him, maybe he was just following his own line. You know, that was the path he was always going to go. Just misjudged how close Smith was. So, bad news there. Smith, though, I think avoiding any serious damage and should have a clean run to the line. Of course, it's kind of good news for Smith. At the same time, of course, Beer gained from that. So maybe he'll outscore Beer by 2 points, but you know, he was hoping to get 4 points. He would have actually preferred to finish in 5th with Rosenkrantz in the middle. And of course that does ruin Rosenkrantz's chance for race 2, because he's going to be starting down in 14th. Drayton, I really thought he had this one, did Drayton, but yeah, ever since he lost that draft, he has not been able to make an impression on Bell, and now Marteau could make the move as well. But round here, Drayton should be alright, because once Marteau pulls out of the draft, the speed just neutralises, and Drayton can pick which side of the track he wants to run on, and he does stay ahead. It's around this part of the track where Marteau's got to make the move, probably on the last lap, honestly, so that that Drayton doesn't have the back straight to kind of respond.
Yeah, that seems to be where also Connor Bell is kind of pushing in the boot section to close up. That's where he's been making his overtakes all night as well. So Marteau probably just trying to follow the same kind of thing. Quick mention to let's have a look here. This is the onboard from Aaron Smith. This is the instant with Rosenkrantz. So this is what he was seeing as he comes up there. Where does he decide to go? Left. He goes to the right. It's just, I think, a little bit unlucky right there, because I think both were committing to their lines, and Aaron just gave a tiniest little tag in the rear and that sent them round. We're going to get one more lap in here before we finish this race out, so it'll be white flag for Connor Bell this time as he comes through the last quarter. Whoa, he's pushing on though, isn't he? Getting really close to that outside wall, and now Drayton knows he has to defend this lap as to come across the start-finish line. Connor Bell, fastest lap of the race, and he is flying out in front. That is a rapid time compared to these other guys in the 38s. The only man in the 37s as they come up the hill. I was going to mention a quick mention to Mark Redford, who didn't qualify. He's sitting in third in class. That'd be a great debut podium for him. As now, here we go. Marto's got to do it now towards the bus stop chicane. He's going to get the run on the outside. If he wants to make this work, he's got to be brave to get past Drayton. He's in front before they get to the braking zone. He's going to try go around the outside. They're going to give each other racing room. And Marto does the job. That was close. And he braved it round the outside. Drayton gave him enough respect and enough room to make it work. And Marto pulls up a fabulous overtake in the bus stop. And a fair play to Paolo Drayton. He did not make that easy, but he didn't make it too difficult for him either. And Marto moves up to second. So this now makes this spicy, because now Drayton, the championship leader, by a single point over this man. This could flip it. As Smith is off. Aaron Smith is off. Florian Beer is now in the lead. Smith's made an error and he's now spun off and drops down to P4 in class. So drama on this lap. Florian Beer goes to the lead and Aaron Smith makes a crucial error on the final lap in race 1 and drops to 4th in class, and that is not what he needed. Florian Beer will be able to extend his championship lead by a small one. Smith's trying to come back now, and Richard Boberg, who's also in the championship fight here. Redford moves up to P2 in class, but it will be Connor Bell. He's now back in it across the start finish line. He wins race 1. Marto comes across in second in front of Drayton, and that could have flipped the championship in his favour going into race number 2. Florian Beer on the final lap takes the win in the AM class on the death. Mark Redford, the debut podium, well done to him, and Richard Bober by a 1/10 of a second, with Aaron Smith right behind him in P4. Smith, oh, what has he done? He had 1 lap to go. He gets on the brakes here into the boot section, gets on the curb, and it just rotates it around in the middle of the track. And Florian Beer, that was nearly a race-ending collision for both our contenders right there. And Florian Beer, that's about a change. He's going to need some new underwear, I think, through this one, Sam.
Yeah, great reaction. Because he was on the brakes. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Rather than try to pick a side, be on the brakes. It gives you a little bit more time, and you realise actually the racing line was the way to go there. So great work from Beer, and that could be crucial for the championship. And I mean, you know, it's not the biggest mistake we've seen this season. It only cost Smith 3 places, but at this business end of the season could make all the difference. So here are the final results. Bell wins by 2.5 seconds. It was comfortable in the end. Marto with that big move at the end, and of course maybe another lap and maybe Drayton would have been able to respond, but he got it done on the last lap, and then sectors 2 and 3 Marto was clear to hold on to that place and is now the championship leader, we believe. Stephen Westerhoff, a quiet 4th place, but still good points for him. Then it's Florian Beer, Mark Redford with a terrific performance. Great to see how Mark has kind of improved his performances over the last few meetings. Richard Boberg finishes in 7th. Then it was Aaron Smith, Brian Crone, Alexander Roggenbach, Shane Dunn, Chris Rosenkrantz was 1 lap down, so too was Jack Reeve and Steve Brown. Good effort from those guys to get to the end, but Joseph Givens will not score points because he was 6 laps down. This broadcast has a few sponsors, and we are going to show you a bit of a trailer for one of them before race 2 of the evening, whilst the drivers have a little bit of a break. But we'll be back with you for race 2 of the evening in just a moment here on Apex Racing TV. See you then.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala,
and Ray Alfala is a 4 four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix world champion Martin Kroenke,
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross world champion Mitchell de Jong,
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series,
and many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 Virtual Racing School Super Series live on Apex Racing TV. Once again, I am Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again alongside me is Jack Canan, Marco Barbanera, operating the production side of things tonight. We've got 1 more minute of warm-up before we launch race 2 of the evening. I feel a little bit of a fool, honestly, Jack, because I really thought Jota was going to win that one. I said at one point, I was saying, oh, how are these 2 other drivers going to possibly win, because Jota's so quick down the straights. I was very wrong, because Jota ended up in 3rd place. But do you think that Jota has a chance at even taking the lead on the opening lap? Because, you know, one would assume that they'll keep their setups, and if Jota gets a similar start to what he did in race 1, maybe we could see a change for that lead up the hill.
Well, that's what he did in race number 1. That he took the lead on the way down to the bus stop. Nothing anybody else could do about it. Connor Bell was basically defenseless down the straight, and Connor Bell once again is on pole for this race. And that doesn't really tell the story of the previous race, does it? That he took the pole and took the win, but that's not how that was. Connor Bell put in a hell of a drive at the end of that race to get to the win now. But Marteau crucially finishing in front of Drayta. This race sets up the championship finale next week at Long Beach. So this is a really big race. Connor Bell on the pole, Marteau in 2nd, Paulo Drayta lines up in 3rd, Vestrov in 4th, Florian Beer lines up in 5th, and the head of the AM category, Mark Redford in P2 in class. Boberg's there, as is Aaron Smith, and everyone there apart from Mark is a championship contender in that one. Brian Crone, Alexander Roggenbuch, Shane Dunn, Chris Rosenkrantz, after he was battling for the lead, remember, Rosenkrantz would end up having to tow back to pit lane after an incident. Jack Reeves, Steve Brown, Joseph Givens is your grid for this one. Big race coming up live on Apex Racing TV. Make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with this series and all the other series that we do broadcast on the service. And hello to everyone who's also watching on the Twitch channel. Make sure to give us a follow over there, twitch.tv/Apex Racing TV. Here we are then, waiting for one driver to ready up, and I think we are ready to go. Here we go. Big race, possibly the biggest apart from next week. Connor Bell on pole. 2nd race of the night at Watkins Glen, and we are away. It's a great start from Marteau from the 2nd row of the grid. He's already pulling alongside Connor Bell. It's turn one. He's in front as they head into the 1st corner, but Bell has the inside. He manages to slot in from Marteau in front of the trailer. Very wide for Connor Bell. Has to go across the grass, and that'll compromise his run up the hill. Marteau may be able to capitalize on this. He moves to the inside. side. Bell leaves him the space as they head up the hill. Side by side we go for the lead of this race. Still side by side. Watch for Drata, the Brazilian bullet behind. Up towards the bus stop they go. Drata's trying to find, where do I go? Where do I go in this situation? Into the bus stop they go. Connor Bell hangs on for now. Marto's absolutely on his tail. And Mark Redford is now leading the AM class in a brilliant overtake on Florian Beer. So Redford on a big day for him. He goes a little bit wide now. Florian Beer back up alongside him as they head towards the beach. He's going to look on the inside of Vestrov. No prisoners for Mark Redford. Up the inside. Oh, contact into the wall. Redford had such a good day. And Aaron Smith is in it. Aaron Smith is in it. The championship leader contender is in that crash. And he's going to have to get back going again. Rear wing damage while Florian Beer leads. That is a huge blow. He's going to have to, that is terminal damage. For Aaron Smith, he's going to have to come back to pit lane to fix that. Beer is through and clear, thankfully for him. Boberg up to second, but that now, surely that puts a huge dent in Aaron Smith's hopes.
Yeah, that mistake at the end of race 1 proving to be quite costly now. I mean, Chaos Theory, you don't know if he would have maybe had a crash anyway, but it's unlikely that he would have done. He was, I think it was almost unrelated, honestly. Well,
yeah, it was.
No, he had to react, and he had to take a slightly tight line. That caused the 294 of Dunn to make contact. He was kind of understeering himself, couldn't really make that change of direction. That is absolutely huge there for the championship, because honestly, if Beer can just finish in 4th place here, I mean, a lot easier said than done. He's got Boberg and Crone close behind. Oh, Smith has crashed again, but that is, he hasn't taken his fast repair yet, so, well, he's now got out of the car. So maybe that'll be the end of his day. Here is the lead for the amateur category. It is Boberg who moves ahead. And Beer's got a question how he races this one now. Boberg is a championship threat, of course, and will actually probably move up into 2nd place in the championship after tonight if it ends like this. But Beer really can afford to lose 1 or 2 points to the Swedish driver and still have a good shot at the title heading into California. Crone just behind, losing some speed there. So this will be an interesting fight between these two to the end of the race.
Yeah, certainly. When you got a feel for Mark Redford and for Aaron Smith, who had a really good race number 1. Of course, Smith losing on the last lap, but that could have really dented his title hopes. But the top 3 in the Pro Championship still very much together, basically as they started. They've been quite well behaved on this first kind of opening few laps. Connor Bell's still in the lead. Marteau is 2nd. Drata is 3rd. But of course, they're carrying much more fuel in this opening stint as well. So they're kind of settling in, still trying to get the car up to temperature, of course, but you can expect this to get very, very heated in the last couple of laps. But they've already driven away from the AM guys. You can see there's Rickard Boberg. He's in the lead of the AM category now. Behind him, of course, is Florian Beer in there, and Chris Rosenkrantz. There he is. He's on a recovery from his terrible race one, when he made contact with Florian Beer actually down the straight. Aaron Smith on his way out of the pit lane. Thankfully for him, he will be now a lap down. Oh, it's actually 2 laps down on that order as well. Should be just one. It should be just one as they come down the straight.
iRacing's very messed up on that. And actually, when we head to Long Beach next week, expect for the lap count to be absolutely crazy, because we've had it in T2, we've had it in GT, where iRacing thinks that drivers who have pitted are like 5 laps down when they're 2 laps down. So look forward to that one. But yeah, should just be 1 lap for Smith, and that's important, because you need to be 1 lap down in order to score points in this series. So if he doesn't score points, he can pretty much say goodbye to the championship. I mean, Beer would just have to turn up for the last round and finish both races and win the title. So it's important for Smith to finish within that range if he can. As Bell continuing to hold off Marteau at the moment. Drata just falling away a little bit. It shows how good he is down the straights. When he nearly took the lead at the chicane, he was like 1/2 back going out of turn 1, kind of preoccupied with the jars behind, and yet he was still right with them by the time they got onto the brakes. No, he needs to up the pace, does Drata, because he's at threat of falling out of the draft, which is an advantage. The draft bigger than the turbulent air around this circuit. Rosenkrantz not suffering from turbulent air right there. He was right on the tail, as Roggenbach with a slow rejoin there. Here comes Rosenkrantz then on Crone, who like you alluded to it earlier on, Jack, just not quite himself. Proper quality driver is Crane, but not feeling at home at the moment in this race. Rosenkrantz up into 6th position, and well in the draft of Florian Beer ahead, who might have a chance at Boberg here.
Yeah, it certainly looks like he's going to go for an inside line for Florian Beer, but does Boberg have the overspeed? Maybe he's the one running some lower wing as they come into the bus stop, and yes, he does just about hang on to that, but interesting fight. Now, Beer's got to think about the championship now. He can't afford to get up in an instant, because that'll, of course, bring Aaron Smith, reduce the damage that has been caused today, but Beer takes an extra bit of championship points into this round. Of course, takes a big chunk of curb, trying to get up alongside Boberg here into the toe. They go inside line for him. He goes to the outside, trying to sweep round, and he's still got his wheel alongside, but Boberg just hangs on, and Brian Kroon now back in this, and Rosenkrantz all of a sudden is in this now, so Kroon's going to get himself involved in the middle of this right now. He's not fighting for class position, just for on-track position. Beer has to give him room, and suddenly Chris Rosenkrantz is now right with his German counterpart, Florian Beer, on the inside, and now has a second opportunity to get past Florian Beer. That had a great fight in race number 1, and of course Aaron Smith as well. Unfortunately got touched around by Aaron Smith in race number 1, but now he's on his recovery. Aaron Smith is the one down the order, a lap down, and Rosenkrantz has a second opportunity to try take a win here as Connor Bell is setting fastest laps of the race out front, and Drake is not really able to stay with him at this moment in time, as it just seems like Connor Bell, his car seems to be working better in the clean air and away from that really fast Drayta car in P3. But of course there's still a long way to go in this race. Anything can happen. We're riding up over Rosenkrantz up the hill now. Beer's going to try and get past Brian Kroon here. It'll be Rosenkrantz to the very outside line. Now what do they do here? They go 2 abreast. Beer switches to the inside line for the bus. They're trying to get past Brian Kroon here. He's well entitled to fight for position. Rosenkrantz outside line. Can't quite get up alongside for now, but this is allowing Boberg to build a small little gap.
Yeah. Although, half a second. I'm surprised Bowie wasn't able to get further away, but seems like Beer is running more drag. He pulls out of the draft, and then he can't really do anything. Sparkle's having the momentum that he's built up over the last 600 meters. Pulls out, and all of a sudden he's going the same speed as the other driver. That's going to make overtaking very tricky. Top 3 kind of separating out. Bell about a tenth of a second a lap faster than Marteau about a tenth of a second lap faster than Drayta, as here comes Boberg there, back past Beer. Apologies, that was Kroon past Boberg, I believe. Kroon in 4th. And Beer holding off Rosenkrantz just behind. We've 3 seconds further back, and is lapping a second a lap faster than these guys. Actually, Givens as well is about a second lap faster, so these guys keep fighting like they are. This will be a 6-car battle before soon.
Yeah, it could be, as Beer nearly getting into the rear of Boberg through turn number 1. I just saw there as well, Connor Bell half a second a lap faster than Drayta on that lap, by 3/10 faster than Marteau, so he's in clean air. He's very happy. Beer's now with that, he's cost himself momentum there, as Rosenkrantz will now have an opportunity to try to get past, but also Beer will have the draft from the car in front. So you can see right here, Rosenkrantz won't really have anything to fight with. He's going to have to dive back into the toe, switch back to the inside maybe, but no way through. And it seems now that Beer just closing back up to Boberg again. So this is really going back and forth between these guys, strong in different parts of the circuit. Their setup is strong in different parts of the circuit as well. And Brian Kroon is also kind of giving them a little bit of a tow as well. He's helping Boberg along, who in turn is helping Beer, he's helping Rosenkrantz. But if Jack Reeve keeps up the pace as well, as does Givens, is nearly in the rear again. Does Beer? He seems to be more confident on the brakes compared to Boberg, but Boberg's just holding station very nicely. But this is a big fight, because Boberg is definitely still in the championship fight. He's not out of it, and he's had a really good day so far. If he can get a win under his belt tonight as well, he'll certainly increase his chances. It'll still be advantage Beer, but we saw tonight what can happen. Aaron Smith, who was the leader 2 rounds ago, is now all of a sudden going to drop way down.
Yeah, no, it's Long Beach next time, isn't it, as well? It's the tiniest mistake will make the difference around that track. And of course, pile-ups are very possible around the roundabouts as well on lap 1, so yeah, Boberg needs every point he can. Beer wanting to get to the inside. Boberg maybe a bit late to necessarily to carry it off, but to kind of make his move there. Rosencrantz is actually up our inside right there. Now he's going to get the draft is the big question. Beer, we think, is running more drag, and the fact that he hasn't got the draft really isn't going to help him, but now he does get the draft back. I wonder if Boberg's deliberately kind of mixing this one up so that these two are side by side heading into the chicane. He's done a splendid job of it because they were dead level, but it was Rosencrantz with the better line. We often see it in GT cars actually, lots of moves around the outside at the bus stop. It is possible because you take a lot more speed through, but in these Formula 3 cars you're so vulnerable to get tangled up that it's not worth the risk. And these drivers would have been racing around this track in the official series, they would have learnt that. Of course, they would have visited this place many times before as well in single-seaters. In a GT car you can kind of afford a bit of door-to-door action there and maybe clip the curb a bit too much, but in these Formula 3 cars you've got to leave that room for your rival.
You definitely do. The smallest wheel-to-wheel contact can send you flying off, and it's really, compared to GT racing, these cars can't take the same level of punishment that they could before the damage model came in. Of course, provides some great racing when they do get it right, and we saw it is doable tonight. Marceau going around the outside of Dreta at that bus stop chicane, of course, but it also relies on the other driver giving you space. As now here comes Rosencrantz. He's going to go for the lead of the AM category. There he is on the inside. He's got the run on the Swedish driver, and he does go through. So Rosencrantz back to the lead of the AM class, but this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Still lots of time left in this race, and Rosencrantz may not be in that lead for very long. Up the hill, and already Boberg's trying to find some space. Beer might be able to get up alongside them here, side by side. Up the hill they go, and Beer might be able to capitalise here. He's trying to find the draft off of Boberg. Is he going to make this 3 wide? He's going to stay 2 by 2. He's trying to find room, but there's no way through. And Boberg, maybe, will he try to go around the outside? No, he doesn't. Rosencrantz hangs on, and Boberg, I think, sensibly backs out of that one and stays behind for now. But this is a hell of a fight for the AM class leaders. It was the same in the last race, but this is the kind of the most intense one we've had all season, and it makes it even better that there's a title on the line in this one as well, in the form of these guys. Oh, Jack Reeve, he spun it on the exit of the fast right, and that is very, very easy to do. So he's going to come through the right-hander. He's just over-rotated. It seems to me like he does. It's just a really lazy spin, and round he went. Thankfully no damage, but Givens capitalises. So that big charge that Jack Reeve is on suddenly comes to a grinding halt.
Yeah, he was on target to catch up there. He was on target to pull away and win this race by a comfortable margin, was Conor Bell. Not anymore. He lost a bit of time on the last lap, but that's not why the gap is so small. He's had a rubbish lap. Compare those lap times, it's going to be a 39, I think. Well, 38.9. So he loses 4 tenths. Worked so hard for the last 10 minutes to build up that gap, but a rare mistake from the Canadian, and this race is back alive. Also, Drata's pace has just improved a little bit as well, and these top 3 will probably be separated by around a second by the time they get into the bus stop. Race back on, which is awesome to see. Rosencrantz might be pulling away here. Boberg and Beer, the championship contenders, battling amongst each other for 5th and 6th and 7th. And Rosencrantz might get the amateur win here, like he has done a couple of times before. Of course, Rosencrantz came into the championship midway through at Okayama, made a very good impact since then. Boberg ahead. Beer is playing it cautious, to be fair, and well, he really battled across the curb, and that's cost him a second right there. But doesn't necessarily need to beat Boberg, but would be preferable. But yeah, all of a sudden that battle for the top 3 in the AMs really kind of weakening, especially with the fact that of course we had the spin for Reeve, who may have been with those guys by now if he hadn't have made that mistake. So we turn to the lead of the overall race of the pro race, and of course for the battle for the pro championship as well. And Marteau has had another excellent lap, staying right with the race leader here. Bell has seemingly had about a 10th of a second on Marteau on the most part in race 1 and most of this race 2, but now the two seem very even.
Yeah, what Drata kind of needs now is these guys to start going side by side. You can see right there, absolutely even on the times, but look at that for compared to Drata, it's That's a big loss for Drake. That's 0.4 of a second that he worked so hard to gain last lap. He's just lost it again, and it's down to now up to 1.5 seconds up to these guys. But Marteau is absolutely firmly in the draft now of Conor Bell. But interesting, deciding not to use the slipstream there. He doesn't want to pull alongside. I think they're trying to work together to get away, because of course I would imagine, Sam, that Marteau is thinking about the championship. He doesn't want to get in a fight with Bell. He wants to work with him and get away from Drake, as he will lead the championship into next week.
Absolutely, yeah, I think that's exactly what he's thinking. Sure, Bell has got a chance, but Bell needs some favours for Marteau, and I'm sure Marteau isn't planning on having an incident, so he would rather, yeah, he'd much rather Bell won this race than Drayton did. So yeah, stay behind and then really battle in the closing stages, because well, that last lap at 38.3, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a bad lap from Drayton. Maybe 2/10 off kind of the best pace, but Bell and Marteau, I think that's their possibly personal best lap. Certainly for Marteau, it was his personal best lap that last time, absolutely putting everything out there, so they know they can pull away. So why fight now? These guys have been battling all season long, and they've very much learnt when to fight and when to stay behind, albeit this is particularly close, and I don't know, maybe it will come into question for Marte. Maybe I could go a little bit quicker than Connor up ahead. Maybe that will allow us to pull away from Paolo. So we'll see what his mindset is. That lap, much slower. They lost they were half a second slower on that lap than the lap before, so I think maybe a small mistake there from Connor.
Possibly, yeah. Drake just gaining just 0.2 of a second, not much, but it'll add up over the course of this race as Marteau. Now, what does he do this time? Does he pull out the slipstream? Yes, he does. He's not using that overspeed. They will gain from being in the slipstream, and Conor Bell just not giving it to him either, staying defensive on the inside and moving back out into the bus stop. So this is a proper tactical work going on now between these guys, of course, in different teams. They're not exactly going to be working with each other, so to speak, or talking to one another, but even so, there's kind of I suppose, an unwritten agreement going on right here that Marteau will not go for the overtake right now, but he certainly will later on, we can assume, as we're 17 minutes into this race, 13 minutes left to run, and it's now going to be, what is the championship situation going to be into next week? It's going to be super tight going into the last round for both championships. Maybe not so much for the AM class, but even so, it'll still be pretty close. There'll be new contenders in that one too, as of course Beer is not in the lead of this one at the moment. He won the race number 1 on the final lap, but he's down in 3rd in this one. Aaron Smith is still running, so crucially he'll still score points. That's exactly what he kind of needs. He needs to keep scoring points if he wants to favour his chances now through the last corner. Gets it. Conor Bell definitely visibly gaining on that lap, and we'll probably see that reflected in the lap times as they come across on the board right now. And there it is, 1/10 of a second, but Drayton gaining a time as well, as Florian Wehr now is kind of caught up in a battle with Richard Boberg, and as well, this is kind of a championship defining one as well, because Richard Boberg has had a poor run of results as well, and he needs to get himself back on the board. And you can kind of see that just behind, by the way, lapped car of Aaron Smith. He should be in this fight right now, but he's now obviously fighting from the back, a lap down, and is still just making sure he scores points. Florian Beer, does he pull alongside up the hill? It's a tricky place to pull alongside here. Has the outside for the bus stop chicane. Does he decide to go for it? Does he have the speed to do it? I don't think he does. He's pulled absolutely alongside now. Boberg will try to shut the door on him here as they head into the bus stop, but nothing he can do about that. And Boberg hangs on, goes a bit wide on the way through the bus stop, but still no way through. But Rosenkrantz is absolutely driven away from him because of fighting this hard.
Well, credit to Rosenkrantz, because a couple of laps ago he was actually the fastest man out on circuit. He did that poor lap for Bell and Marte. While still doing that poor lap, Rosenkrantz managed to do a 38.6. 38.6, so he was the fastest man out on track. Of course, you can find out all about that data and follow the live time by clicking on the link below, the live timing link, and that will send you to a web page, and it will open up a page with the lap times and with the laps complete, the driver's best lap times, the intervals between each of the drivers, whether or not they've come into the pits so far, all of that very useful stuff. That provided by SDK Gaming, who also provide our amazing overlay. You can see the timing tower, the Pro-Am splits at the top, We have the logos. There's so much more as well. I mean, you got lap time comparison graphs. You got the track map, and of course we use it for the live timing software, obviously. And it's also fantastic as well as a heads-up display for whilst you're racing. It's got a fuel calculator to help you out on your strategy. So do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk. There's a link in the description below, and if you sign up, then you get a 14-day free trial, so you really can't lose. I'm sure after that 14-day free trial, you'll get yourself a proper subscription, as well as Beer is. No, he still can't get past, can he? Past Boberg on the outside again, and he's kind of fallen for the same trick again. I mean, he's been on the outside a fair few times. Surprised that Beer fell for that one. Really slow run through the bus stop. Rosenkrantz was very close to getting past Crane as well, the closest he's got yet, but Crane holding on to that 4th place with 9 laps to go, 9 minutes to go.
9 minutes to go, and Marteau is absolutely on the rear of Conor Bell. And Drayton, you can see, is getting closer, and he's now within the second. That is definitely within the draft of the cars in front. So, oh no, Florian Beer! And now, that has totally changed. He's going to drop down some positions now. He drops behind Jack Reeve, and he's down to P9. Now, has he got damage? I think he's trying to figure that out now, as he fires up the car again. He's behind Boberg as they enter the toe. And does he just get out of shape on the exit? Oh, he gets on that grass on the outside of the toe. And no, if you haven't done that, you're lying. So that's on the exit of the toe. That is unfortunate for him. We go back to the front then. Marteau getting very, very close. Once again, he's not going for it. And Marteau, I think he maybe needs to be thinking to try to get past shortly, because Drayton is closing in and is now under the second margin. Coming through the bus stop chicane now. The lead battle is firmly back on, and the AM class championship is certainly not over anymore with that mistake from Florian Beer. Here's Rosenkrantz again, trying to get past Brian Kroon into the breaker zone. He can't quite get it done. He's still stuck behind the Pro Class driver. Again, he doesn't need to be worrying about him, really. And as Aaron Smith moves up another place, up to P11 now, so he's actually not too far off Florian Beer. That's exactly what he wants. He's still in with a shout here going into the final round. So he's had some kind of luck go his way, I suppose, despite what's going on a little bit earlier in both races. Florian Beer suffering a spin that many of us have pulled off in our iRacing career.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it on probably about a dozen occasions, honestly. Poor lap this time for Drayton. He's let the top 2 off the lead. You see, I guess in hindsight I was wrong, because Bell's put in a superb lap here. But if I was Marteau, I'd kind of want to get past now rather than in a few laps, because if Drayton keeps on closing in, then if Marteau goes for the move on Bell, then he might lose out to Drayton. Whereas if he goes for it when there's still a little bit of a gap existing, then there's less of a risk of him dropping behind. Saying that, it's too late now for that, because Drayton's right with him, and of course he'll gain quite a significant amount of time down the back straight. So no, very close between those lot. I seriously doubt Bell will be able to hold on to that half-second gap throughout. I think he's going to get close, as Rosenkrantz seemingly running more downforce than Crane here, because like he pulls out and then Crane starts to go a bit faster. Side draft implemented as well. Yeah, Rosenkrantz. Oh well, it seemed like Crane was almost lifting off there, but no, he's carried a lot of speed in the end. Absolutely shooting it through the bus stop, taking lots of curb as he can do if he hit it just right. And Rosenkrantz has to stay behind again. He's kind of got to think of something a bit different as the German answer, because every time he's gone for that move into the bus stop, it's kind of paved, it's kind of ended up the same way.
Definitely has, and I think out front, Conor Bell, I think he's trying to push to break the draft. He's trying to get away from Marteau. The gap's got up to 0.7 of a second. I think what he's trying to do is leave him vulnerable to Drayton, maybe, because Drayton's got to finish in front now. Here comes Rosenkrantz with a dive up the inside this time, and that was not what Brian Crew was expecting. He leaves him room, though, still on the inside of the hill for position here. This is for 4th overall, not for position in class. Rosenkrantz is leading his class, of course, so he doesn't need to try too hard to get past, but they come across the line shortly now. You can see the difference in the lap time. Drayton losing time to Marteau, Marteau losing time to Bell, so it seems to be all in the lap of Conor Bell at the moment, and he on course to do a double here at Watkins Glen to bring himself back into contention. The lack of Will Redford here today, of course. There's Drayta for a moment. Brian Cruden still trying to hang on. And Rosenkrantz with that extra downforce is just not able to get past. He's going to close up once again here, but as soon as he's going to move out of that slipstream, he's going to hit a wall of air, and he's going to fall right back behind again. But he's got to try and keep himself close this time. Will he find the inside this time is the question. He does find the inside this time, but is he enough alongside to go for the move this time? No, he's not. And Brian Crane, I think, just kind of frustrating him now, trying to get through.
I'm surprised Crane left that open, honestly. I mean, he's had it covered up every time. I don't know why he wouldn't do that again, but maybe just confident that he would inevitably have his nose ahead. Now he's a bit offline. This is the part of the track where Rosenkrantz can go for the move, particularly into the heel. We've seen it is a prime overtaking opportunity. Rosenkrantz taking a very similar line. If you can do, you want to kind of take a slightly different line, just so that you get out of the turbulence. But no, I think Crane just nailed that one, and Rosenkrantz not close enough into the hill. One of the biggest braking spots we have on the track. You can miss the apex there and you still carry real good speed. It's such a satisfying courses, apart from this left-hander, which is uphill, kind of a little bit off camber, I think, or at least flat when you turn into the corner, and then absolutely rifle it through super easy flats. And this penultimate corner is just basically an extension of the straight, and then big turbulent air round the final corner. Into the wall is Roggenbuck, and he's beached.
Oh no. Oh dear. Yeah, that is one of the worst things to happen when you beach a car. And unfortunately, Alexander Roggenbuck has just been really unlucky there and got himself caught on a really tiny curb on the top of the circuit there, and has had to tow back to pit lane. Now, once again, Rosenkrantz is going to try again to get past Brian Cruden. This time he's more alongside than he was, but I think he's just going to have to brave it here around the outside, and nope, still not able to do it. So this is just probably a little bit frustrating, well, actually very frustrating for Rosenkrantz at the moment, but I think he's still being sensible in the fact that he's not trying to do a quote-unquote stupid move around the outside when he's leading his own class. He doesn't need to fight. Meanwhile, the top three here, quite well behaved. We haven't quite seen the fight that we saw in race number 1. I think Marteau is probably very happy to sit where he is. He just needs to outscore Drayta. That's all he's got to think about in this late phase of the race. We're going to cross the line with just over 28 minutes left on the clock, so we should just about get 2 more laps in before we get the checkered flag. And certainly, it's lining up an interesting finale at Long Beach. Of course, across the line they go. Marteau definitely closer this lap than he was the previous lap. You can see, look at that, 0.4 of a second quicker. Drayta was also quicker that time as well. So Marteau, he'd like the win, but he's also thinking about that championship.
Yeah. What's that pace been though? Especially for Drayta, some of his best laps of the race. It was his personal best lap of the race. It was slightly poor lap there for Bell, but I mean, when we're talking about poor laps, they're not mistake laps. They're just, 2/10 slower. Oh, Crane's had a problem. He's in the wall. He is in the wall, and that promotes. Well, will that promote Beer up a place? Or what are you doing, Brian? Come on. Turn off the track. Well, you don't have traction control, do you? But you need to spin it around to a 180. He'd been able to actually pull away slightly, hadn't he? And then the car getting unsettled. Hasn't got too much damage on that. And he's dropped behind Beer, so that's another point for Beer. Although Crane's very slow, should be able to beat Smith, so that's very significant for the Amateur Championship, because of course whilst he's a pro driver, these drivers score points for their overall position, not their class position. So the fact that Crane is kind of in the position that he is will make a difference for the drivers. So that's very good news for Beer. That's an excellent thing to occur in these closing stages. Drayta not quite able to do too much on this lap. Still that gap to the top two maintaining. And yeah, this is really a tough decision here for Marteau. Does he go for the move? I certainly think he should do, because he needs all the points that he can get to build up a buffer in the championship. But this would be spectacular if there was a collision between these two. 0.4 is the gap. I certainly think Bell is the favourite, but can't afford a mistake from here on in.
No, he certainly can't have to come to the hill for the last time tonight, and Marteau is closing in. Now, will he do the same thing? Will he pull out of the slipstream? Is he going to go for it this time? He's certainly not pulling out of the slipstream. He's going to go for it. This time, Marteau could try to take the win here at Watkins Glen. Outside for the bus stop chicane. Big move. This could end in tears. He's going to try to go around the outside of the bus stop chicane. Side by side for the lead. Marteau is through. Side by side between himself and Connor Bell. Marteau is leading this race now on the final lap. He lined that up for the whole race, and now he leads the race with half a lap to go. Connor Bell back to the inside again, side by side between our top two as they come round the heel into the boot section. It's still Marteau with the inside line. It'll be Bell with the outside, but Marteau hangs on for now. Still plenty of time left for Bell to try to get through now, but now he's got a car buffer. Marteau over Drayton. Now Bell again with the run out of the heel up towards the toe they go, and it'll be now inside line for Connor Bell. Will he be able to make it stick? He's back up the inside. He does get through. Back to the front again for Connor Bell. Drayton is now with them. Does he go for an overtake? Yes, he does. Inside for Drayton on the inside of Marteau. He can't quite get alongside, and they stay as they were as the lap began. Connor Bell, he's had to fight tooth and nail for this one tonight. Drayton's desperately trying to get past Marteau. Here around the last corner they come here at Watkins Glen. Connor Bell does the double. Marteau is second and Drayton is third. Sensational final lap there by our top three in the championship, and it lines up a beautiful finale at Long Beach. Chris Rosenkrantz, he had a crash in race one, across the line to win the AM class here at Watkins Glen, and the championship will swing in favour of Florian Beer even more going into the final round. But what a sensational final lap. Great racing. And Connor Bell, he had to fight. Marteau tried it, wasn't enough. Drayton tried it, wasn't enough. And Bell does the double, and he's now in it.
Yeah, he's got a chance heading into Long Beach now. I think that's his third double of the season out of 9 rounds. Really does show when Bell is on form, when he can get that pole position for race 1. He is very tricky to beat. So yeah, what a final lap that was, and credit to Bell there, because he positioned his car just right. Really looked like Marteau had the upper hand once he made that superb move around the outside at the bus stop. But Bell, just positioned his car right, got the cutback through the toe, really got a nice exit as well. Wasn't too greedy on the throttle, and made the move very comfortably, honestly, into the heel. And then, of course, Drayton being able to put off Marteau in those closing stages. Still not bad for Marteau. It was worth going for in the end. It didn't lose him too much, even though it nearly lost him that second place to Drayton. But still, I think all three of them will have a smile on their face after that. It is Bell who comes out as the race winner, and that gap between the top 3 in the championship is going to be probably less than 10 points. I think if anything, Bell and Drayton will probably be about even heading into the last round. Marteau with a slight advantage. Rosenkrantz with a brilliant 4th place. He had terrific pace, honestly. Did Rosenkrantz, really well deserved 4th position. Ricard Boberg was great to see him back up there after a few tricky rounds. Of course, was the championship leader after a few rounds of the championship, and still with a small chance himself. He'll be fairly even with Aaron Smith after tonight, I believe. Then it was Joseph Givens, who did brilliantly from the back of the grid. Jack Reeve was in 7th despite a spin. Florian Beer could have really put one hand on the trophy, but a spin for him cost him a few places, so he ends up in 8th. He was helped out though by Brian Crone's issue, who finishes in 9th. Shane Dunn rounds out the top 10. There's Aaron Smith with his first lap collision, but does score points. Crucially, Smith, he does still have a slim chance at the title heading into Long Beach. Alexander Roggenbuck, Mark Redford, Steve Brown, and Stephen Westerhoff round out the order. Only Roggenbuck, I believe, finishing the race out of those 4 drivers. Quick shout out to Apex Racing Academy, who are another sponsor for this championship. Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs for a variety of cars, single seaters, prototypes, even rallycross cars. In fact, Apex Racing Academy cover. The Formula 3 car is one of them. You can get tuition, I believe, from Peter Berryman does these cars, former World Championship driver in the Grand Prix series, got podiums as well in that. He was absolutely terrific back in 2016 in that championship. I believe he's also a driver in the Porsche Esports Super Cup as well. Of course, there was also coaching from Antoine Higelin and Kevin Ellis, some of the absolute best drivers in iRacing, and putting together some brilliant data packs which include setups and also tuition videos, kind of demonstration videos, and also group coaching sessions as well. You can also book solo coaching sessions as well if you are looking to pinpoint where to improve your driving on iRacing. So do check out apexracingac.com for more details on that. So we've got a few drivers who are up for an interview, and there's only one man we can have a chat with first, because once again Connor Bell has been able to claim a double race win tonight. Congratulations, Connor. It's I believe your third double of the season. Feel free to correct me on that one if I've got it wrong, but that one must feel the most satisfying, because you had to work hard for it.
Oh wow, yeah, that was fantastic racing by the top three there. Shout out to Marto and Dreda there. Those guys are just insanely quick. I was running a super high downforce setup compared to them. So as I'm sure you guys saw, they were much faster in a straight line, especially Paulo. But yeah, I just I could carry more speed in the corners, so came out with that win, and yeah, super pleased about that one.
Race 1 was absolutely exhilarating, as you said. The amount of downforce that each one of you was running was really important, because you managed to pull away. In that race 2, it seemed like it was turning out the same way. You got up the gap to about 1.2 seconds, I think, and then all of a sudden it just came down a little bit. I mean, was there a mistake midway through the race?
Yep. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the corner names, but in the heel of the boot, that right-hander, I had a few little issues there throughout the race. I think about 3 or 4 times I got a little loose there, and it just lost me a couple tenths throughout the lap, so it allowed them to catch up, but I was able to hold the gap against them.
Yeah, that was crucial, and it was really only on the last lap where Martel was able to go for the move. Yeah, what was going through your mind round that part of the lap? Because of course he was close to you, you managed to take advantage of kind of the lower downforce that he was running, but your response after that was really impressive, because you pretty much nailed the next 3 corners after the bus stop, and had you not nailed them, of course you would have probably finished in 2nd place. I mean, were you not getting a little bit nervous there? Because that was impressive to keep your nerve.
Yeah, that was a pretty insane last lap. I knew he was going to catch me going down the back straight. That was the smallest gap there's ever been all race. So I knew he was going to have a huge run. I didn't want to defend too hard and be too aggressive, because, you know, 2nd place is better than last. But yeah, I knew I had to, once he got past, I knew I had to set up the next few corners to get a good exit. And I did, coming out of the toe of the boot, and then I got a good run down that small back straight, so I was able to capitalize on that pretty good.
Got one more round to go at Long Beach. I'm not 100% sure about the mathematics. I'm not sure if you just need to win both races, or whether you need a favour from the other two. But what's going through your mind at Long Beach? I mean, is that a circuit that you've visited in the Formula 3 car before?
So I've been there once, and that was in the Formula 3 last season. It's a difficult track, but and I'm not the greatest at it, so I'm gonna have to put in some practice. But yeah, I think qualifying is going to be really important there, and it's going to be really tough for the championship win for me. I don't even think it's mathematically possible, but I think if I can get to the double win there again, and, you know, maybe have some luck go my way, I might have a chance, but top 3 is definitely looking good in the championship.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, I will try to update the points ASAP, but yeah, you came into this round 29 points behind, so yeah, probably down a bit now, isn't it? Probably under 20 points, so yeah, you may need a little bit of a favour from the others, but no, you've certainly done a good job tonight. Connor, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to my team, Team Delta Sport, for making this possible. Shout out to my competitors for some awesome races. Like I said about that Okayama race, these past few races have been some of the best ones I've had on iRacing. So shout out to you guys for putting on the league and for broadcasting everything, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Connor, and best of luck that everything goes correct. That's at Long Beach next time.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Connor Bell there, your double race winner tonight, and well, he really needed that. 29 points behind in the championship going into this round, but like I said, it's going to be probably halved with tonight's results. Jack, we've got a couple more options for interviews now. Who would you like to have a talk with next?
I think let's have a chat with our other winner from tonight. Let's drag him into the box. We have Chris Rosenkrantz, who of course won the AM Class feature race as well. Chris, welcome. I know race 1 was not the best, of course, ended up in the wall on the back straight up towards the bus stop chicane, but a great race 2, great recovery to the win. You must feel good.
Yes, it's really nice to be 4th overall and run the race in my class. That's amazing. I won the final in my class for the first time. I had every time bad luck. I was sometimes too slow, and sometimes I did some mistakes. But now I am really happy with the position where I am currently.
Yeah, your pace in race 2 was really good. It seemed when you got past Rickard and the other guys, you seemed to drive away from them, and you were even battling with the pro class guys. So yeah, it looked really good. I know it seemed, were you running a little bit more downforce than Brian, because it seemed like you couldn't get past on the straights?
Yes, his downforce was not so high. He had some problems in the corner because the low downforce. That was for me really difficult to fight. I was every time, so I thought, oh no, I hope I finished the race. It was close in the race before. I had often moments like that, and it ended the wall. Yeah, result.
Yeah, it was an excellent recovery, Chris. Thank you very much for talking with us. Is there anyone you'd like to say a quick thank you to, or give a shout out to while we're still on the stream?
Yes, of course. I want to thank my parents that I can race in the simulator. Then to my Formula 4 race engine, Vito for giving me the simulator, and that's all.
Yeah, Chris, thank you very much. Congratulations on your win, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, of course. Long Beach will be quite hard. The track is definitely one of the hardest in the calendar. Every mistake will be bad for the drivers because the car will be rated.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
Yes, see you later.
So Chris Rosenkrantz there, the winner of the AM class. So we've one more standing by, Sam. I think this should be a good one.
Yes, we've got Mark Redford with us now. Mark, your son wasn't around tonight to represent the family, but he certainly did them proud tonight, because that race 2, and race 1 was pretty good, but race 2 in particular, absolutely stellar performance.
Yeah, well done for crashing, Mark, in race 2.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, I got confused. Do you, mate? No, race 1. Apologies. Race 1 was very good. Let's concentrate on that.
No, I really enjoyed race 1. I couldn't get it together in qualifying, so started at the back, but then the car was great. It just, if I could get turn 1 right, I'd get a run on the car in front and often pass them even before the chicane. So it was really nice to drive, and yeah, booked up a few places and got, I think it was 6th in the end overall. That was really good.
Definitely. And then in race 2, I'm not actually sure what's occurred for you. I mean, what happened out there?
I think it was cold tyres and not enough talent and too much understeer. Yeah, I put it up the inside into the boot, wasn't it? And the car just didn't turn and drifted out into, was it Stephen? So apologies to Stephen for that. It's entirely my fault. And I think did Aaron get caught up in it? Did he have to adjust his line or something? So, Aaron, I'm really sorry, mate. Yeah. So good in the first race and then atrocious in the second.
It's very easy to do, and of course a little bit of turbulence as well from the car's head. Easy to have that little bit of understeer. But tonight, honestly, was probably your strongest race of the season. Would you say that you've kind of made improvements in the Formula 3 car over the last few weeks?
I have. I mean, I've only recently bought the Formula 3 car to join into this series and have a bit of fun with Will. And I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's I find if you don't trail brake it into the corner, it doesn't turn. So that's a technique I've had to try and learn, because with the NASCARs, you have to brake in a straight line.
Are you parts of? I didn't realise you were racing in the NASCARs. What's your chosen kind of discipline? Are you a fan of the super speedways or the short tracks or the road courses? Kind of what do you aim for?
I think I'm strongest on the 1.5 miles and the super speedways, but I've been learning to handle the shorter tracks as well a bit more lately. So I enjoy a bit of oval racing, but thought I'd have a go at the F3 as well, and I've enjoyed it. Well, I've enjoyed today, the first race. Big shout out to Will, who's currently doing the 6 hours of Watkins Glen. So good luck to him and his team in that.
Absolutely. Thanks for having a chat with us, Mark, and best of luck for the last round.
Thank you.
Mark Redford there for Turn 4 Motorsports, finishing in 6th place and 13th. My bad, I thought I got totally confused with the results. I thought his race 2 was better, but of course not, with that incident that we've just seen on screen. And of course, what an important incident that could be, taking out Aaron Smith and really changing the complexion of that race too. Jack, it was only last week that we found out we were going to Long Beach. We've been holding back on the calendar for a little while for round 10 of the championship, because we've tried to follow the official series, and obviously a few months back when this series started, we didn't know what next week in the officials was going to be. I was a little bit I don't know, I was mixed emotions when I found out it was Long Beach, but I think for a season finale, it's certainly a track which is going to bring volatility to the standings, because with both the Pro and the Am still up for grabs, a crash round there will probably rule you out of the title.
Yeah, so we're going to be obviously keeping an eye on that for Long Beach especially, and if there's one track it's very easy to crash at, it's Long Beach, so that's going to be interesting. If we have a bigger grid as well, that'll make it even more intriguing. But of course, with the Watkins Glen 6 hours on this evening, I know that a lot of drivers kind of just finishing up their stints right about now, or just kind of halfway through the race right now. So best of luck to anybody who's doing that, or well done to everyone who's completed that as well. And we look forward to that, and we look forward to seeing what Long Beach is going to bring, because this is a really tight title fight right now. We're pretty sure Marteau's leading it now, but I mean, it's still single-figure digits. That's it's going to be between the both of them heading into the next one. As for the AM Class Championship, that's going to be basically wide open. Florian Beer will lead that, but I don't think we're even quite sure until we've done the maths yet what that's going to be like. So basically, don't miss next week.
Well, I have now uploaded the points, so I can say that in the Pro category, we got Marteau on 418, Jata on 413, so a 6-point swing tonight, which makes sense, 3 points in each race, so that's actually a little bit closer than I thought. And then Bell is on 402, so Bell was 29 points behind going into tonight. The gap's now down to 16. So, I believe if Bell wins both races and Marteau finishes in 2nd and 3rd, Bell would win the championship. But if Marteau finishes in 2nd place in both races and Bell wins both races, then it would be Marteau who holds on. There's lots of permutations, of course. Jata if he wins a race, then that would temporarily put him ahead. So that's very close. Of course, Wolf Redford's still got a small chance. He's 38 points behind. But with the drop scores, I think Redford's pretty much out of it. He really needs to turn up tonight. But of course, part of the driving in the 6 hours. So unfortunately, that's probably ruled him out on that one. In the amateur category, we've got Beer on 294, Smith on 284, and Boberg on 277. So Boberg, of course, making some places up there in race 2, but still with a sizable gap. But geez, I'm sure Beer wishes they didn't make that mistake. I mean, 10 points isn't a lot. Could have well been 13 or 14 had it not been for that mistake. So he'll be kicking himself, but still had the much better evening. So yeah. Just needs to finish within a couple of places of Smith in both races in order to confirm that championship next week. I'm sure anyone who's watched tonight's race will be tuning in for that one, because Long Beach Formula 3 cars with a couple of championships to decide. It's going to be fantastic viewing. Of course, you can watch all the action here on Apex Racing TV, whether that's on our YouTube channel or on our Twitch channel. Follow both. Twitch has a slightly lower latency, but really, whichever platform you prefer to watch your streams, to watch that on. And of course, you can watch all of our other streams as well on Apex Racing TV. We've got the 3.5 championship occurring a little bit later on tonight. We've also got the IGP Fun, which is in Formula 3 cars, on tomorrow. We've got Mazdas on Monday, GT3s on Tuesday, Porsche Cup on Wednesday. And loads more action as well. I think the prototypes might be coming to an end as well next Friday in a very competitive couple of championships. So do check out that one as well. Thanks to Virtual Racing School, SDK Gaming, and to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this broadcast and sponsoring this series. Thanks to them for offering prizes as well to the championship winners. And do check out the links in the description below to check out all of the services that they provide. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Jack Canan, and from Marco Barbanir, it is another double for Connor Bell. And we are going to see the championship decided at Long Beach next time out. Don't miss it in 7 days' time. We'll see you back then.